On this day, October 19, 1821, Iturbide addresses Gabino Gainza. On October 19, 1821, Agustín de Iturbide, president of the Regency Junta that had been established in Mexico, replied to Brigadier Gabino Gainza, governor of Central America, the office that he had sent him on September 18, communicating the harmony, order, and concert in which independence had been proclaimed on September 15 of that year. Iturbide in his office objected, without having any right to do so, the second article of our Act of Independence, because it called a sovereign Congress under the representative system and at the rate of one deputy for every 15,000 souls. Iturbide said that the foundations of the government would not remain solidly affirmed if they were not supported by the common center that all the parts of this continent had to gather for their mutual protection and defense. Whereas the interests of Guatemala and Mexico were so identical and indivisible that they could not set themselves up as separate independent nations without venting their security and existence. That it was necessary to abide by the principles of moderate monarchy, erecting to freedom a throne in which reverential and customary respect, the prestiges of antiquity, and the immemorial possession of the crown came to uphold the dignity of the sovereign, while the national representation, freely exercising its destiny, opposed an incontrovertible dam to the onslaught of power and reduced it to the unhappy impotence of degenerating its will. And finally, he said that naked of all individual sights and possessed of the most sincere respect for the will of the peoples, he would not try to subject them to his own, although it was none other than his happiness and well-being, an object with which he had already marched and was to touch shortly on the border of Guatemala, a large and well-disciplined division that would avoid violence. Despite the verbiage and euphemism, it was clear that Iturbide intended to incorporate Central America into the empire he had already planned to establish. And although there were those who took the danger and advised the measures to be taken to avert it, Gabino Gainza, Mariano Beltranena, the Isinena, the clergy, the pseudo-nobles, the former colonial bureaucracy, the owners of the land, they had already concocted the plot that would lead to the subjugation of the newly independent territories to the splint of Mexico. In Honduras, it was Comayagua that took the championship, supporting the conspiracy of the high Guatemalan leaders. In El Salvador, they occupied the sad place Santa Ana and San Miguel, and in Nicaragua, the city of León. This was a day in the history of Honduras.